It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the Brunswick Community College Athletic Director and Head Baseball Coach, Coach Robbie Allen. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to get started coaching in college baseball?
Well, after I finished playing professionally for a little while, I decided that probably my best way to give back to the area that I grew up in would be to start coaching. And so I just kind of started into the high school, and then I said, well, college coaching would be a lot better. And that's it kind of evolved.
What was it like playing for Clemson University, and what was it like putting on that Tiger orange?
Well, it was really nice. I mean, for a guy that grew up in a small town in southeastern North Carolina, to be able to go to Clemson and play baseball, and it was exciting for me. I had never been to Clemson until I drove up on campus on Sunday afternoon to start classes that Monday morning. So it was kind of a unique situation for me, and I enjoyed every moment of it.
What was it like being a part of that 80s College World Series?
Well, and I sit here in my office and I look at my 3 ACC plaques right now, and from 78, 79, and 80, and my World Series plaque, and I look back at it, often, or look over on the shelf, and I say, man, those were the good old days. I just, it's kind of comical because things now are so much different. Nothing was televised in 80. There were quite a few radio stations that carried the games. People would listen, but it was not as publicized as it is today. And, social media wasn't there. We laugh about it with my guys and even my children. The fact that when I got drafted, I got back to my hotel room and there was a telegram on my hotel door. So it was a little different. So back then.
Of course, coming off of that College World Series, what was it like getting drafted into the MLB?
It was a really good experience. It was a feeling of being, so to speak, succeeding at what I'd wanted to do, reaching a goal. I grew up in a family where my dad always preached that we needed to have goals and we needed to put steps in place to achieve those goals and things to do. And, it was some satisfaction there. It was a really exciting moment. Also a little bit scary. Again, I had never been on a plane until I went to Clemson. Clemson was actually probably as far as I had ever been away from home, other than with my parents. Just totally different situation. And then getting drafted and having to leave and go to Pioneer League in Lethbridge, Canada, that far away from home, was a little different, but it was also exciting and a lot of fun.
What was that feeling like of getting drafted to the Los Angeles Dodgers?
Well, everybody knew back then the one or two organizations that were the best and paid probably the best of what they could and treated you the best were either the Los Angeles Dodgers or the New York Yankees. And so every kid kind of grew up back then wanting to play for one or the other. Little did I know, and I was excited to get drafted by the Dodgers, but little did I even think about the fact that, okay, well, you got Russell at shortstop, Lopes at second base, you got Say at third and Garvey at first, and they're going to be there forever. So, and that's kind of the situation that I ran into. But, and again, with the Dodgers, we got to have our spring training with the big league team. So I did get to meet those guys, and they were nice guys.
What was it like coming off of playing, getting into actually scouting professionally baseball?
Well, scouting it takes a special person. A lot of people don't realize this, but these men that scout, and even the women that scout now, they're on the road quite a bit. And I was a part-time scout, and got to help with Gary LaRock, who is now with the Cardinals in player development, and also got to help Lon Joyce, who has just recently passed away in the last year, with the Dodgers organization. And they would just send me places. And I think probably after I got out, after about 4 years of that, scouting and traveling so much and being gone from home and things like that, I think a lot of the organizations decided they were going to get rid of the part-time guys. And then I did the bird dog thing for a couple of years after that. And I was just kind of ready to get out of that realm and to move into something else. And kind of after high school coaching ended up here. So, but scouting is a tough job. I mean, it's those guys have to critique every player they see just about, and sometimes they'll all look the same. And you're gone away from home, and I know that I've heard them talk about spending one night in their own bed with their family in a 60-day period. So a lot of traveling, a lot of grueling work.
What was it like getting into the North Carolina high school baseball?
Well, for me, it was a little different. I kind of chose I didn't choose a different route. As you know, I signed out as a junior out of Clemson, and I had to go back and finish school after scouting. And I was fortunate enough to get, asked to coach a baseball team in a private school. And, it was a lot of fun. Spent 15 years there after I got my degree again in 95, or got my degree in 95. I continued to stay there, had a couple opportunities to leave and chose to stay. And it was really nice. I mean, you got players that want to be there, want to be playing. Their goal is to play at a higher level than high school. And so it was nice. It was a lot of fun, and not a lot of pay, but it was a lot of fun. So,
How has your professional scouting career helped you into where you are now as a college coach?
well, one of the things, and I'm not so sure how in depth they go now, because I still have a lot of who are still scouting that I worked with earlier. But back then, when you would draft a guy, you would go in their home and you would sit down with them and their family and discuss a lot of different things. You wanted to know what their makeup was. You didn't want to be drafting somebody that was going to be nothing but trouble. So we do a lot of that here. We try to recruit young men along with their family. We don't just recruit the player, we try to recruit the family. So what we do is we invite the parents and even siblings on visits. And then when we have our conversation about whether or not they're going to come or we want them to come, we involve the parents, and we try to make it a family decision. And I try to make them understand, okay, you got a little sister and she's 13 years old. She's playing travel softball. Well, they're playing at the same time that you're playing. So mom and dad's got to make a decision. Am I going to go with your sister to play softball this weekend, or I'm going to Brunswick to watch you? And if they decide, whichever, one's going one direction, one's going the other. And I said, so it is a family decision, and it's got to be made by the whole family. And that's kind of how we do our recruiting. It's we want them to be good citizens to begin with, good people with high character and good work ethic. And you can find out a lot about meeting and talking with the parents. And you can also find out a lot of times whether it's the parents' dream for that young man to play college baseball or if it's his dream. And those are big issues also.
What are some of the things that you've accomplished on the baseball side as head baseball coach?
Don't really like to talk about a lot of those, but we, as a head baseball coach, when I was in high school, we won 10 out of the 14 years we won the state championship. We had really good success at moving our players on to the college level. When I got here, we got the program rolling in 2009, and then in 2013, we won the Region 10 tournament, and we went to the World Series and represented Region 10 in the World Series, and we've been back 2 times since then. We won over 400 games here, and we have promoted well over 100 players to 4-year schools to continue their education and play baseball. And we've had 3 guys drafted. Actually, I'm sorry, we have had 5 guys drafted. Time's catching up with me. But anyway, so program's doing well. And it's kind of like I was told one time before by a player. He said he had a chance to leave here, and this is kind of funny. Had a chance to leave after his freshman year, and he said, "Coach, I'm not leaving because we're going to make it to the World Series next year and do some good things if the coach don't screw it up." So I just kind of stayed away and let them roll. So, but anyway, good players make good coaches.
What was that feeling like as a coach going to the College World Series?
It was an awesome feeling. I mean, it was, you win your region tournament, and our at junior college baseball, it's a little different. You go to a region tournament and then you go to a district. So we won the tournament and the district, and at the end you kind of sitting there and you think about it for a second, and you say, okay, well, now I got to raise the money to go, because a lot of people don't realize that junior college baseball or community college baseball in the state of North Carolina is not supported by the school. It's not supported by the state. A lot of it is county funds, and not only that, you fundraise a lot of money. So we raised about $38,000 in about 10 days, and for us to go to the World Series. So it was exciting, but at the same time, it was kind of nerve-wracking, wondering if you were going to have the money to go. And then when we went again in 2016, it was a little bit easier to get the money. And when we went in 18, it was not quite as hard to get it either, because people at that point in time had realized, okay, well, this is a worthy thing. And these young men have served the community with community service hours, and which we do every year. We try to get 30 in with each player. So they've given back. So it was deserving.
Of course, for you, how is it like balancing being the athletic director and being the head baseball coach?
Sometimes it's difficult, more difficult sometimes than other. But one of the things we're in that part where it's really difficult right now, because we have basketball going on and we have baseball going on, and like right now we're looking at travel for the weekend because men's basketball is traveling, and we're supposed to get bad weather on Saturday here, and we're playing another team that's close enough by where we're going to go play them on Sunday. Well, we don't have rain coming in on Sunday, but we got rain coming in on Saturday morning. They don't have rain coming in where they are. They're a little bit further south than us. So we're talking about switching it. Well, if we switch it, then I've got to have 2 more vans than because the basketball team's already taken the bus. So we're either 2 vans for the basketball team to go on. And so it's a juggling act at times. So it's a little more difficult at times than others. And right now is one of those times where it is. And you don't want to slight either team. You try to do the best that you can for both teams, but you don't want, one team thinking I'm taking favoritism over another team because of the fact I coach a team. So you have to keep it on an even keel. And most time we make these switches, like if we were to make one this weekend with men's basketball and they would drive 2 vans and we would take the bus, I'd sit down and talk with him. And what we would do is baseball budget would rent 1 van and basketball would rent the other. We wouldn't rent them both. So, but anyway, so it'll work out. We'll get it worked out, and everybody hopefully will be happy.
Can you talk about, of course, the culture that you've built for the athletic program at Brunswick?
Well, I think one of the things we've tried to do here over the years, and trust me, it's been a battle, but is we've tried to instill and a good ethic all the way around. I mean, we all have to serve community service hours, all student athletes. If they don't get them, we suspend them till they get them. So, for example, if a young man or young woman didn't get their 15 community service hours in the fall, then when they get back in January to play the second part of the season or to play baseball or softball, they can't participate till they get them. And we keep track of that. And I think that's important. And we really push the academic side. All of our student athletes, first year players, go to study hall. Not only do they go into a study hall, regardless of what their grades were in high school or what they scored on ACT or SAT, they go to study hall. But even if their grade is below 2.5 GPA at the end of the semester, they got to go back to study hall. If it's above 2.5, they don't have to go back. But I tell all of our players, baseball-wise especially, I believe it's a direct correlation, academics and athletics, because the 3 teams we've had go to the World Series have had the highest team GPAs. We had a 3.21 GPA at the end of the fall with our baseball team this time, but we've had as high as a 3.3 and a 3.4. And one of our goals we set every year, and we tell everybody at the beginning of the year, at the end of the year, we want the highest team GPA in the nation. And that would be one of my goals, that would make me very happy. We do a student code of conduct. Every student has to sign it. Every parent has to sign it. We try to hold our student athletes to a higher standard than just a regular student. And it shows. It shows with our success in our men's and women's basketball and baseball, and we've just started a softball program. So I think it'll show there too that we do that. And I think our community appreciates it. I mean, if they didn't, we wouldn't have been able to build our baseball field and our hitting facility that we have, which cost us $602,000, and it was all raised by the community. So one of those things, you got to try to do the right thing. That's what we always tell them. Do the right thing. The difference between right and wrong. Let's do the right thing.
Who are some teams that you faced in your conference in the Brunswick?
We play at Community College. We play Southeastern Community College. I don't know if you know this or not, Brandon, but Region 10 is the largest junior college region in the nation. And it is divided up between Division I schools, Division II schools, Division III schools. One of the reasons that we're Division II in baseball, we still play the Division I schools, but we play Division II because of the mere fact the state of North Carolina says if we give scholarship money, we cannot give room and board. We can only give tuition and fees. South Carolina and Virginia, they can give it all if they want to. So we have generally not given scholarships. Last year was the first year to give some scholarship money, and we're giving some this year. So we just chose to go to Division II. But the games we're talking about this weekend, we're playing USC Sumter, and we'll play Florence Darlington, and we'll play Lewisburg, who is the only D1 baseball program in the state of North Carolina right now. But yeah, we go to Virginia Beach and play. We go to Petersburg, Virginia. We go to Martinsville, Virginia. So we're all over the place. Go to Hickory. Pretty good time.
Of course, do you play those teams like Mount Olive College, Barton?
We will Mount Olive sometimes. Now they're Division II NCAA. We're Division II junior college. So we're a 2-year institution, whereas they're a 4-year. And we've got a catcher playing at Mount Olive right now that played for us. He's there, continuous education playing. So we do scrimmage them in the fall sometimes, and a UNC Pembroke, places like that. So, and we enjoy doing that. So,
what does the recruitment process look like for prospective student athletes looking to play college baseball?
Well, one of the things, almost every student athlete that wants to play college baseball or basketball or softball, they're on a travel team, what they call showcase. Those are good, but I say all the time, the best way to do it is to go to that school's camp. If they're having a camp, find out when it is and attend it. We have 17 players on our active roster right now that attended our baseball camp. We can only carry 30. So we got over half. We had 2 camps this time, and we have signed 4 players out of those 2 camps right now. And we're working on 3 more. So we're going to get 7 more out of that. The reason I say it, because when they come and play, or when you go watch them play in a showcase tournament, you don't get to talk to them and their parents a lot. But if they come to a camp, dad or mom, one's going to stick around the camp with them, and you get to talk to them, and you get to meet them. You get hands-on instruction for them, and then you get to know more about them. So that's a big difference. That is huge for us, is to be able to get our hands on them, so we can get to know them a little bit better and get to know their family. And that's the big difference. So my suggestion to any person wanting to play at a certain college, if they have a camp, go to that camp, attend that camp.
Of course, as athletic director, what are some of your future plans, and what sports do you see in the next few years coming to Brunswick?
Well, right now we're creating a new athletic website. Ours is kind of old and needs some things done to it. So we're kind of fixing all that up. We have talked about adding some sports, which I'd rather not mention at this point in time. We're trying to make sure that softball gets off the ground this time. We did have volleyball at one time, but it we had problems keeping a coach. So we got men's and women's basketball, baseball, and softball this year. We're doing upgrades to our outdoor baseball facility right now. We're hoping to get approval to build our locker room out there. We also have ideas and plans to build a softball field here on campus. So we're growing. We're growing. Our school enrollment is a little larger now, not by a whole lot, but we're a small school right on the coast of the beaches of North Carolina, Ocean Isle Beach, Holden Beach, and so we're trying to make it work. We generally average around 1,500 students a semester, but we're at about 1,600 right now. So trying to make it work.
Of course, what is it going to feel like, obviously, to add softball to the sports?
We want, and it's kind of funny. I was at a small private school. When I started at the private school, you had soccer, you had women's tennis, men's and women's basketball, and baseball. That was all you had. And it was K-12. When I left, we had 16 sports teams. I think you need to get people involved. And we would love to have that many teams here. But you got to understand, too, we want to get the ones that will be successful and survive, but you also got to get the ones that the community will support, and because you got to have money. You can't travel without money. So, and you can't buy uniforms without money. So we do a lot of fundraising. So we have to be careful how we plan and what we try to add to our athletic program. And we thought, because of softball being so popular in the community, that would be our best bet. And that's why we went that direction.
What advice would you give those high school players looking to play college baseball?
I think create a good work ethic. I think the biggest thing that I think most players think that when they go to practice and practice their 2.5, 3 hours, they're done. They're not. Their work, if they want to play at a high level, is just beginning. There's academic side of things. There's a balance in life that they've got to have. They got to be on their, so to speak, P's and Q's all the time, because somebody's watching them and somebody knows about them. I mean, on social media, especially. Then they got to create a time to study and to create a time to hold themselves accountable and do the extra work. Just preached to our guys yesterday. If you're only doing what we do together out here now for 2 o'clock to 5:30, then you're not going to be successful. That's plain and simple. It's just not going to happen. You got to get in the weight room. You got to do a lot of things. So they need to get a good game plan together and have somebody talk to them about it. And then they need to find out, kind of what idea they have and where they might want to go play. And then go to camps and then play baseball. I'm not a big advocate of only play baseball. That I think I like young men and even young women that play more than one sport, because then they're more athletic and they're well-rounded and they have an idea of what all it takes to do that. So I'm not one that says you got to play baseball year-round. As a matter of fact, most of those young men that play it all year round, when we get them, their energy level, we got to perk it up some. We got to create some energy, because it's just another day. And we don't want it to be just another day. We want every day to be the best day, and we want it to be special. So it's hard to get some enthusiasm into people when they have played baseball 365 days a year.
What advice would you give those future college baseball players that are playing baseball and looking to go play in the MLB or even go play in the Olympics?
I think one of the things they got to do is just what I just said, that there's a different type of work ethic. I mean, it's I share this with my guys. I came from a really small town, like I said, and I'm a country boy, as you can probably tell by my voice, but grew up in a different era, I know. But I used to go to the baseball field with a bucket of baseballs and start throwing it into the backstop. I'd go pick them up, and then I'd throw them out in the center field. Then I'd go pick them up, and then I'd throw them back into the backstop. Then I'd try to throw them out of center field. And it's funny, a older gentleman that used to go to my church, Mr. Grover, lived beyond center field. And I'll never forget this as long as I live. He would see me out there doing this, and I got to where I could throw them out. So he went and got an empty 5-gallon bucket, and he would pick them up. That was his exercise, to go pick them up and put them in the bucket. Then I give him my empty bucket, and I take his bucket. So if you want it bad enough, there are things you can do on your own. I have young men tell me all the time, well, I have nobody to do with this. Well, or to do this with. I said, well, what's wrong with you doing it on your own? I mean, those are things you have to do. I mean, I go out and throw, 60, 70 baseballs, and do it on my own and just go pick them up. I mean, hit off the tee. There are things you can do to work on your skill and to get better on your own. And if you don't think that's happened with all these guys that are in Major League or even AAA baseball, then you're sadly mistaken. They do all that. They get all that extra instruction. They do all the other things, high academics, really push themselves academically. They eat right. They sleep right. They do the right things off the field. They lift weights. They condition hard. I mean, it is not easy to play professional baseball. It is, and I say this all the time, and our guys laugh at me that are playing professional baseball and say, y'all got it easy, man. We had it hard. I said, y'all play 4 days in a row, y'all get a day off. We play 21, 25 games in a row, never get a day off. I said, so when I played in, it's different. I said, you ride a 15-hour bus ride and roll up after a game. You finished at 11 o'clock, get off the bus, get something to eat, and play again. I said, it was ridiculous when I played. I said, but y'all got it easy now because y'all just a softer generation. So I pick on them a lot. I don't think they're any softer. I just think that they've got it better than what we used to have it. But if you want it bad enough, there are things you can do to get it. And it's just a matter of doing a lot on your own. So that would be my advice to them. Have a good work ethic, be rounded and grounded, and don't be afraid. Don't make excuses. I tell our guys all the time, excuses are for losers. Don't make them. So I don't want to hear them. So that can happen. You just got to have your goals set, and you got to have a good work ethic and understand what you're trying to accomplish.
What advice would you give those future college coaches looking to get started? And then what advice would you give future athletic directors such as yourself?
I would give probably the same thing, both. Find a place where you think you might fit in. And number one, don't be lazy. Number two, don't be a know-it-all. Don't be afraid to ask for help. I mean, I'm going to be honest. I think that was probably my biggest problem early in my coaching and AD career was I knew what I was going to do, especially in baseball. Don't tell me anything. And then I realized, hey, there's more ways to get this done than just my way. And I tell our guys that all the time. If you got a better way of building a baseball than what I'm trying to show you, then show me. And if it's better for you, then we'll do it. I don't have a problem with that. The objective is to get better and be successful. And that's your objective as a coach. And with what you're doing, if you don't evolve as it goes, and even as an AD, if you don't evolve as it goes, then you're not going to be successful. And I'm going to be honest, I was afraid I wouldn't be able to sign on here today because I'm just getting to where I do a lot of this kind of stuff. Social media, not big on that. I have somebody that does that. So don't be afraid to hire people that are good at certain things. And just because you can't do it, don't mean we don't need to be doing it. And just, stay open-minded. And there are a lot of changes that I've made in my 34 years. I can tell you that. Have to be able to change.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media along with the Brunswick Community College Athletic Program?
We have our website is gobccsports.com, and right now that site is kind of being upgraded. Our baseball program is and I'll have to look it up to make sure I'm correct, but our baseball is on Facebook at BCC Dolphins Baseball. our Instagram, if I can get it to come up. Is BCC_Fins, and then BCC_Baseball. And then we have BCC Baseball 1296. And our Twitter account, as you can tell, I don't do this. So we have somebody doing it for us, thank God. Is BCC Dolphins. It's at BCC_Dolphins. So those are ours, and we have younger people than myself that help us with baseball. They help us with that. So that's a blessing. I just kind of follow along. So anyway.
Thank you again, Coach Robbie Allen, for your interview, and best of luck in your future with the baseball program and the athletic program as athletic director.
All right. Thanks, sir, and I appreciate it.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Robbie Allen, for your interview, and best of luck in your future.
Thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.